Welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jaime McFaden, and I'm so excited to have you here. This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we will focus on a word of the day, and I interview some of the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Join me, let's learn together on What's the Word.
This is the place where I belong.
Hi, I'm Jaime McFaden, and welcome back to What's the Word. Today's episode is all about the word pause, which by definition means interrupt action or speech. And I'm so excited for our guest today. She is someone who has inspired me for many years to not only practice taking a pause, but also flowing in a luminous way, hint, hint, wink, wink, utilizing her fabulous yoga methods. She is so inspirational. Her name is Jess Ray, and she is here with us today. She has yoga platforms that you can go to. She does retreats. She's incredible. Jess, you are one of my friends, and I'm so happy you came here to join us today. Thank you, beautiful human. How are you?
Doing so well. I'm out here, living in, sunny California, Palm Springs temporarily. So, it doesn't get better than amazing warm weather as we approach November, right?
I know. It's always the most beautiful time of the year here. Although we did just get a big shower, but other than that, it's been so nice and sunny and beautiful. So I want to ask you and dive right in. You chose the word pause, which is all about, interrupting action or speech, taking that moment. And I just want to know, what does that mean to you and why did you choose that word for today?
I think, that word, and specifically the definition of interrupting is the idea that sometimes we think about pause as like taking a break or pause and like relaxing or something like that. And pause to me has really been influential in my life in how I have corrected my own thought patterns or behaviors. So it's taking that pause, interrupting an action, a thought pattern, and saying like, hold a second, I need to figure out how I'm feeling in this moment. I need to figure out if this needs a response immediately. I need to figure out anything that's happening in this moment. Pause is such a gift for us so that we don't react so quickly. We actually respond with thoughtfulness and mindfulness. And that's with anything, physical activity, like just regular everyday stuff. It doesn't have to be in the practice of, like meditation or yoga or anything, because those things are actually just tools for us to, of course, just live a better, more fluid, sort of in the flow life,
Right. Well, and you just tapped into something. So for anyone listening or watching right now, Jess and I worked together years ago at Active, and she now has her own company. She's taught all over. She's a gymnast. She is just, like I said, when I think about yoga and I think about the practice and the art around it, I think about Jess, and she inspires me all the time, which is why I wanted to have her on here. And the fact that she chose the word pause, which is all about the interruption, I think is so key when it comes to self-care, because we live in a world where so much is go, 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 put the pressure tank on, even I'm sure in the yoga world, right? I see it where even whether it's on Instagram or whatever else. So what would you say could be some tips that have helped you, because you brought up that you even had to take some pauses. What are some tips that someone could use listening right now of like, how do we interrupt that? Or how does pause fit into our self-care? Like, how can we start to listen to that?
Well, I think this past 18 months, right, has been a huge pause for everyone. And not necessarily like we weren't busy doing things. Everyone has very different lives and responsibilities, but a pause from the life that we knew, right, and the routines that we knew and the hustle that we knew. And I think this past 18 months has really given the gift of a major pause in what am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I investing my energy? And so when you're thinking through just even like receiving an email, right, that you have to respond to, like someone's asking a question, giving yourself permission to actually pause. Most of us, I think, aren't saving lives. So like, we don't have to work with like a light speed of urgency. And so we can have this gift of pause to say, okay, let me think about how am I feeling in this moment in general? Like, what's my emotional state? What's my mental state? And is that having an effect on my view of this particular, we're just using email as an example. Am I putting a specific tone on this email? Is this actually intended this way? And if I remove all of these things that might be like filtering the email in a particular way, because I'm pausing and having a moment of digestion and reflection, I can then respond instead of react in a way that feels in alignment with who I want to be and who I strive to be every day. And I think that that's really where pause can give us the ultimate, like the biggest gift, honestly, is it allows us the time and space to move through life in a way that we want to, like in alignment with who we want to be and how we want to show up for ourselves, how we want to show up for each other, and how we want to be like known, like what we want to be known for, how we leave people feeling from our interaction in our presence.
I love that. So I'm going to ask you, what do you want to be known for? What do you want your legacy to be as we're talking about this? And that's it's a big one.
Well, over the past probably 5 years or so, I've learned the phrase right now, because I think we often put labels on ourselves and put ourselves into boxes. And then when we start to outgrow those labels or boxes, there becomes this like real tension and friction with, well, I said I was going to be that person. And so I have to be that person. I have to stay in that box. And so using the phrase, what do I want to be known for right now? Like, how do I envision myself and my legacy? I've always sort of said when people ask me about teaching and being a teacher of yoga, I just want people to think of me and go, she's just a really good teacher. Like I leave her presence feeling better about myself with a deeper understanding of what I want and who I am. And I leave feeling, just like energetically better. So I know that's a like not wildly powerful like mission statement in life, but I hope to leave every single person and every single interaction with people, just them feeling more empowered and more confident in who they are and what they want from their own lives.
Well, and I will tell you, as one of your participants, that is exactly what you do. Whenever I would look for a pick-me-up or, I'm having a stressful day and I just need to kind of go inward, you are one of the top people that I just consistently go to of, okay, let me listen to her. Let me do a flow class with her, or let me just get on the mat. And you've had a couple with shoulder opening, a chest opening, and it's like, you really do that. So it's funny because to you, and I love that you brought up right now, this moment is all we have. So to anyone that's listening right now, right? Here we are right now. We all showed up here and this is the moment. So it's not about the tomorrow or what we're thinking about. It's not about the things we didn't do or what happened in the past. It's this moment right here. And so even though I use the word legacy, the legacy right now, like in that moment. So I love that you said that because it's exactly what you do. I want to ask you, what does your self-care routine look like for you?
Well, I don't have any children, so I have a little more time than some people have. And my self-care routine is every morning I actually changed this routine because I felt like I was getting into a behavior pattern that was just not healthy for my own like mental state. And so I knew I had to force the change on myself. So every morning I get up, I go get some coffee because I love coffee so much. I love the ritual, the taste, like frothing the milk and like just the whole experience of it. And I go back into my room, I sit in bed and I read a chapter in a book. So normally during the day and in this like time, I read books that are more like soulful and self-explorative. And so I read one chapter. Sometimes if I have a long morning, like I don't have anything else to attend to, I can read more than one chapter. Or some days it's just a few pages, just a way for me to start my day that's really intentional and gets my mind into a place of curiosity and reflection so that I go into the day with curiosity and reflection. And then, from there, moving throughout the day with my regular responsibilities, and then every night actually to sort of cleanse my own energy and to just wash away the day, the occurrences, other people's energy. I always take a shower and I gua sha my body and my face, and then I do my own personal kriya right before bed so that I essentially really enhance my own luminous body, right? My aura. I repair my own energy essentially before going to sleep, so that in the process of sleep, right, that's when we repair everything, our brain and our muscles and everything, that I am actually at a peak level of repair, so that the next day comes and I wake up and I'm able to have the energy that I need, not just the amount of sort of fuel that I need, but actually the kind of energy that I want, going into the next day. So that's sort of that's really simple. That's what I do every day, aside from, of course, any sort of movement, like taking a HIIT class or a spin class or yoga and different modalities to keep my physical form, healthy and capable. But that's how I keep my energetic, mental, and emotional form,
which is
ready to go.
I mean, they are all so important. And there are so many things that we can do. And that's why I love having different guests on the show to give different potential ideas that someone might go, oh my gosh, I really resonated with this. So you're talking about pause, and it brought up something to my attention where the other day we were texting back and forth about the podcast. And so one thing that's helped in my own life is, and it's so interesting because I take one day where I'm just off my phone and I'm off everything, but I don't tell anyone, right? Like it's just, it's like, if it's the right, sometimes it's Sunday, sometimes it's Saturday. It's like whenever I can fit it in. And it's drastically been one of the best things I could do for my own well-being. And at the same time, it used to come with a lot of guilt or shame associated because I felt like, oh no, I'm not responding to everybody right away, right? So I had to finally turn the phone off and then eventually be like, I'm so sorry I didn't, see your thing until tomorrow. But what would you say, to someone that's listening right now, what are some other ways that we can think about? I love that you brought up kind of the email, and then it made me think about the phone. Some other ways that maybe we can start to consider taking a pause in our own life.
Yeah. I think it all starts with actually a pause, right? A moment of contemplation, right? An interruption of being like, am I who I want to be? Is my energy what I want it to be? Am I interacting with others in a way that I want to be? And that moment of reflection can actually cause a huge shift and change in life, right? Like how we go about everything. And so I think those are three major questions upon, probably many other questions that you could ask yourself that would inspire taking a pause more often. Mm-hmm. And I was actually speaking to my sister the other day. She's on the East Coast. And so she was waiting for her son to get done with basketball tryouts when she was in the car. And we were chatting and I said, one of the most selfish things people can do is not take care of themselves. And we were taught, our culture, our society for so long really made us feel at least that self-care was selfish, right? And I'm so glad that you're doing this and bringing awareness to how important it is, because I say that it's selfish to not take care of yourself, because then you're walking around with potentially terrible energy, maybe not enough energy to even deal with very minute, small things that come up for you, or you're living with pain or you're living with discomfort because there's not physical self-care that's happening. And you're then putting all of that on every single person that you're interacting with. And that is, to me, I said to my sister, I was like, that's so rude. Because it really is that we expect other people, when we're not hygienic, right, about our self-care, like mentally, emotionally, physically, we are then expecting everyone else to just deal with us in whatever state we're in, even though we're not taking care of ourselves. And so I think that those three questions give you a moment of evaluation of okay, is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to feel? Is this how I want to show up? And if it's not, then you get to pause in every single moment and decide, is this, something that's going to nourish me? Is this something that's going to replenish me? Is this something that's going to support me and give me more energy and allow me to have, the energy that it actually takes to show up and be, a great human in the world? Because it takes more energy to be good than it does to be kind of not so great.
Right. And as everyone that's part of What's the Word, and I think as it's like I have a self-care brand now. That is why I do this, with interviewing different incredible humans that inspire me like you. And we talk about the 6 pillars of self-care: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the social, and everyone's favorite, the financial. But really like coming up with different ways. I think it's really important what you said is like, for anyone that's listening, take a pause today, take 5 minutes and start to jot down, how do I feel in my physical, body? How do I feel spiritually today? Do I even know where I'm at energetically? A lot of the times we go, like you said, we have a pressure tank on ourselves, and we do the unfortunate thing, which is we put the mask on everybody else, the oxygen mask, and forget about ourselves until something terrible happens, really. So you are such an inspiration and a ray of light, truly, in the world. And I'm just so honored to know you. And I hope one day I can actually make it to one of your retreats, which I think you just had a retreat. Are you going to be doing anytime soon?
Yeah, we're planning them over the course of 2022 and 2023 right now. So look out for those. And those will be probably a little bit smaller than the last one we just did, which was 40 people. And it was, we had taken a break, of course, from retreats for the last, year and a half. And so we were like, let's just let it be out there for anyone and everyone who wants to come. And we had an amazing group of people. And it's the best part about it is that it actually is a huge pause for people, right? It gets them out of their daily routine. They're in a new place. They're with new people, and they start to have moments where they can have the freedom to think, like, how am I feeling? What do I want? What do I need? And then hopefully leave those, retreats, those moments of pause, understanding themselves. And, one of my friends who was just at the retreat had a moment where she came up to me 3 days in and was like, I just realized that I am not happy where I'm living. And she was like, I think it's like making me sick. And I was like, yeah, I kind of had felt that, but you had to get there on your own. And the only reason that she was able to have that moment, in my opinion, of course, is because she had a pause from her everyday life. She was relocated to a moment where she had the space to think through, how am I feeling? What do I want? How do I want to feel? And what do I need to do to make a change so that I can have those things, right? So the retreats are just so special beyond the pause, right? They create such connection and community, and all about connection and community. Like that's what feeds our soul, right? That's what makes us feel like we belong, like we're a part of something, is people who are around us. So it's always such a special experience to watch that happen just organically right in front of you, where people are just gathering and getting to know each other and making connection, and then having that connection far beyond those, few days that we gather.
Absolutely. And I have to tap into the element of pause and retreat, right? So many of us, we, worked till we get to Friday, right? So many people are like, okay, I can't wait till it's Friday. And I challenge them with like, well, why are you waiting for Friday? Shouldn't you enjoy Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday? And if you're not, then maybe something's out of alignment. And a lot of the times we work until, okay, well, I'll do that on vacation, right? I'll take these vacations. Well, I am fairly certain that going into 2022, and I know this because I also host retreats, it's going to be the busiest year for retreats because people really now have had the pause from the pandemic and being quarantined to think about the 3 things that you said, like how am I living? Is this how I want to feel? And if not, like, what do I need to be doing? This is going to be the perfect time. So for anyone that's listening or watching, I encourage you, go follow Jess, and your Instagram is Jess Ray Yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jess Ray Yoga. And we'll be posting all this. And then I'll also put your website, and, going into next year, going to a retreat, for anyone that's thinking about it, that's never gone, it's such a phenomenal experience that could even change your life, like you just said. Anytime I myself have participated or led, it always is that people walk away feeling better, more empowered, having more energy to go back to life, so that it's not going, okay, I'm just waiting for Friday. And I think that you just crushed it with saying that we all need that pause, really. So before we wrap this, is there anything else that you would like to share with the world that's on your mind? And go.
Oh gosh, what a big question. So I guess no, but you had asked like some sort of practices and tools that you can do to add that pause. And, my husband works from home, as a lot of people are right now. And so I witnessed, his schedule, and I witnessed this back to back calls, and being on video, and being on, different types of calls with, coworkers or in any capacity. And I try my best to offer, guidance and support, because that's not my life anymore, but I see it every day. And so some of the things that I've suggested to him are like, take a meeting in motion. So put in your AirPods at a meeting that you don't have to be on screen for, and walk around the neighborhood. Because when you're walking, you're actually starting to awaken energy in your body. You're going to, not that this is the reason you would do it, but you're going to be more productive. You're going to have more creative problem solving ideas, because your body is in motion. You're moving the energy around, but you're still doing the work. So you're not necessarily pausing from the work. What you're doing is interrupting the way in which you're working. Mm-hmm. And so I suggested that he did something like that. And then also just relocating to different areas. So I will encourage him, I'm like, go sit outside for like your next 2 meetings. Just sit outside. Like a change of environment, the interruption of where you're located can really change your energy. It can change your mindset. It can change your mood. And that's all that really taking a pause is, right? Is taking a moment to have the potential for change of mood, change of mindset, change of energy. And that way, when we have that real like shift, it's like it's like opening your eyes for the first time. You can see things a little more clearly. You see them a little bit differently. And so that's really, I think, 2 ways that we can start to take a pause in our day, and not necessarily have those 5 minutes to ask ourselves those questions and journal like you or I would do, Jamie.
Right.
But like when people are back to back to back, those are 2 ways. Like put in your calendar, these 2 meetings are going to be taken outside. This meeting is going to be taken walking around the block, so that there is a moment that you're shifting yourself. You're disrupting and changing the way you're doing something, because it will provide, the same gift that other methods of pausing can too.
Right. Oh, I love that so much. And I couldn't agree more. In the last 2 years, this has been by far the most I've ever stared at a screen. I think this is like goes without being said to many of us. And, for me, I have to, because it's in me, like get up and move. And, in between stuff, I'm like running around the block, even just something quick. But I think that is something we all need to remind ourselves of, because we can get stuck. And when we have our energy just stuck sitting there and not moving at all, it's going to be stuck. So I love that you said that, like interrupt yourself to move and find that curiosity, spark that creativity, move your energy. And you do such a wonderful job of that. So Jess, I'm so thankful to have you here today. I know that my audience is just going to love and adore you, because you are such a wonderful human being. And thank you for all you do, for all you share, for all you give, for the energy that you bring every day, that you show up, you do the self-care so that you can be a leader, leading by example. I just want to thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks so much, Jamie. I could stay and talk to you literally all day about all of these things, of course. But, we want to be mindful of everyone's time these days. So thank you for having me. It's such a joy to see you. And thank you for giving me space to share, the things that I love. This is what I hope to be doing for the next, 60 years of my life. So thanks for giving me the space to share.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to What's the Word. And we look forward to having you back soon. Thanks. Thank you for joining me here at What's the Word. Follow us on social media with the links on the screen, and don't forget to like and share with your friend. Your support helps us grow and continue to make inspirational content. See you next time on What's the Word.